love this company. Yes! Developers, 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 developers. Yes!
Hey Steve, we know how much you love developers, right? But I was going to ask if you could stand up and show some love for web developers.
You mean just sort of like an impromptu? You mean he said no monkey boy and you want it? You want some love right here, right now? You want me to stand up and do that on the big stage?
Right now, Steve.
I've been in PR mode the whole time, and you want to hear web developers? Web developers! Web developers! If your buddy behind you just gave you $1, I want 50 cents for it.
You're scaring me, Steve.
You offered.
Okay. So Steve Ballmer is actually obviously very excited. He's known for getting up on stage in front of all of the thousands of Microsoft employees and yelling at them and getting them going. He's also known for getting really hard nosed down on them. There's a story of one time in having all his Microsoft employees together in one place, giving a big speech and all that. Somebody's phone goes off, and it's clearly an iPhone. And he takes it and smashes it and breaks it right there. There will not be any Apple products here in Microsoft. Anyway, he gave him a new phone eventually. But you know, the guy's got quite a reputation. All right, but he's really excited, and he's going developers, 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 developers. Right? Why is he doing that? Why is he doing it? Because I told you about my friend, right? Told you about my friend who got a job at Microsoft as a developer. They walked him into his office and they said, "There's your office." He goes, "Cool. What do I do?" And they, "I don't know. You'll find something." And they walked off. Right? This is back in like 1998 or somewhere, right before Windows 98 came out. And he said, seriously, they just walked me in and said, "You'll find something." So he just wandered around. So, "What do you work on? Really? Yeah, you need some help? Yeah, okay, I'll help." And you just get integrated in something, okay? And he just started working on it. Okay, and I told you already about the senior software engineer at the training I was at. She says, "I have what? No hiring ceiling," okay? No hiring ceiling. She said, "I will hire anybody who has the skills and the right temperament," okay? So there is a vetting process at Microsoft for getting hired there. They don't want just anybody, and they don't want just anybody who can code. They want people who can code and want to be a team player. Okay, you have to be a team player because you cannot write Microsoft Word or any of these really huge programs by yourself. It's just too big. It takes too long to put that many lines of code. All right, no hiring ceiling. I said, "Well, what are you looking for? Do you have to have a fancy college degree?" She says, "Nope. You need to know how to code. You need to know some basic languages. You need to know. You need to understand algorithms." I mean, that was the biggie. All right, you need to be a team player. So what if they don't know the language you're using? He says, "It doesn't matter. If they know how to code, they can learn a new language easy. It's just like you say this and you use this word instead of that word for that function." All right, so. It doesn't matter where you're at. You can cross over to just about anything at any time. Okay? So the jobs are going to be out there, whether you're going to go into computers or not. But that also says there's a lot of room for freelancers. There are people who can go out there and they make an iPad app or iPod app or whatever it is, iPhone app or Android app or something like that. They put it in the App Store, and next thing you know, they sell 40 or 50,000 copies. 40 or 50,000 copies of this is a drop in the bucket. You make it once, you sell it 40,000 times. If you sell it for $1, Apple takes 30 cents, you made 70 cents. 40,000, 70% of 40,000 is how much?
A lot. $28,000.
$28,000. So you make $28,000 and that's year one. So that's what you can do. Of course, there's millions of apps out there, they're not all making money, but you make something useful, and we're going to talk about that, useful. You can sit at home in your underwear and make a ton of money, okay? One more example here. I know I'm pushing the money thing here, but hey, where are we going with this anyway? I was on the board of directors for the Matsu Visitors and Convention Bureau at one time, and it blew me away. I had no idea at the time. This was years ago, but we were putting out our RFP. That's a request for proposal to do our web page. Okay, it's a big website. You know, it's alaskavisit.com. It's where people come to Alaska to visit, tourists do, get their information. The guy who won it did it for $50,000. Made a web page for $50,000, and there wasn't even a whole lot of interactivity with it. So what if you could do something with a lot more activity? You could book things and schedule events and things like that, and communicate with, you know, bed and breakfasts and places you want to stay and go, and you add all sorts of other connectivity. You made it more valuable to our community, thus more valuable to the traveler. Now it's more valuable to the people paying $50,000. Now you're going to charge $80,000 because they can make $100,000 off of it. And actually, they're a nonprofit. They don't have to make any money off of it. They just want it to, you know, pay for itself. So that's where you can go with this. You can take a problem and you can solve it. Make life a little bit easier. Make it more profitable for other people. Okay, so that's what that's all about. Let's go back to here. Next slide. This is CS50. Oh, wait, I'm going to go back here. So yes, this is CS50. Notice this here. I made this graphic for him, HYCW. It's my fault that Wasil is doing this class as well, because I encouraged him to do it. I want this class to be district-wide. I want it to be big. I don't know if they're going to teach it in every school, but wouldn't it be cool if other schools took the class, but they took it remotely? So we're teaching it here at Colony, and you're sitting up at Sioux Valley, watching it on a screen 2 days a week with a teacher that's kind of there to help. And we do the lessons, okay? We're the driving force. That would be really cool. But I like being associated with colleges like that. Here's another video. Let's see what this is. Oh, yep. All right, I know that's kind of crazy there. I mean, it really kind of makes you wonder, are we going too far with this stuff here? Hey, how many people have Apple devices? Okay, iPhones or iPads, okay? And then, you know, to get inside that file structure, to get inside that system, you got to do something called jailbreak it, right? You've heard of jailbreaking? Okay, my son, 10 years old. This is 2 years ago. 10 years old. He's playing Minecraft. This is before Microsoft bought Minecraft. He wants to change the skin of his character, right? They didn't have anything you can do that with yet, right? Or if they did, it cost money. He didn't know where it was. So you want to change the skin. You want to create it himself. So he jailbreaks the iPad. He gets into the file structure. He deletes the file. That was his skin. He rebuilds the file, reloads it, and puts it all back together again. It's like, wow, how did you do that? 10 years old, you jailbroke the iPad. He goes, I don't know, I just followed something on YouTube. You know? So two things happen here. One, a 10-year-old is jailbreaking an iPad. Okay? He's getting into it. He's changing, rewriting files and stuff. Does he really know what he's doing? No, he doesn't really know what he's doing. He's just following instructions on YouTube, all right? But the fact that he has the wherewithal to find the information, to learn how to do that and go and do it, that's something. Because to do that, he had to download some illegal software. He had to load it into my computer. He had to, you know, do all sorts of stuff. Like, let's make sure, you know, like no porn or anything pops up on that. But we're safe. It went through all right. So he's into computers, he's into programming and all that. When he is ready, when he gets that far, he's going to have, oh yeah, I've been here before. That's why I did this, right? He's planting seeds. He's going to understand it a lot deeper because he just went through that, even if he didn't know what exactly he was doing. The second thing that happened is what? He learned it on YouTube. Okay? You can learn anything on YouTube. You can learn anything on the internet now. All right? We have Apex classes. We have people all over the world, thousands of people taking CS50 online through Harvard or through a company that they partner with called edX, just for delivery, for free. Okay, people taking it for free aren't going to get any certificates or anything, but they're going to get the knowledge, and that's what it's about. They're getting the knowledge, and that's what they want. We're talking about people, in Africa who, have to, walk to town to use a computer for, in the one computer in the village, and they're learning how to program, and they're taking those programs and they're learning how to, move data so they can better figure out how to irrigate their fields. So now it's getting real. So. That's very strong. That is very strong. Let's go to the next one. Okay, so what's the message? Hope I didn't skip any here. Let me see. Did I? Yeah, okay. What's the message? Does this ad do a good job of promoting that message? What is the message? We're talking about the baby ad there who, pops out of the womb and, looks up on the internet how to cut the umbilical cord, right? Goes up there and starts live streaming, hey, what's going on? I'm out of here, okay? I'm technology generation. What's the message here? You can do anything with technology. Good. What else? Feedback. They're what? You can learn stuff really easy, stuff that wasn't so accessible before. Yeah?
That were like the baby boomers of technology.
Well, these are actually the information age. I'm at the very end of baby boomers. But yeah, you're growing up on technology. You grew up in a world where cell phones exist. You've always had that in your life, in your world. I grew up in a world where I remember the first cell phone came out. My dad had a two-way radio phone. It was really cool. It was about this big. And this teeny keyboard for some reason. I'd have to go to one tower I'd beam towards, and I could connect in. I borrowed it one time to go into a meeting in Anchorage, and they thought I was pretty spiffy that I had one of these. And then our cell phones were in this big box that we put on the floorboard of the car, and it actually had a telephone handset to it. Had one of those for a while. I didn't have one of those, but the guy I worked for had one of those. And then I remember my Motorola flip phone. It's this big gray plastic thing. I should see if I still have it somewhere. And then a little antenna that popped up when we talked. Did you know that the antennas, for a long time, phones had an antenna that you pull up? You didn't need that antenna. You know what the antenna was there for? It was there because people didn't believe that you didn't need an antenna. I swear to God, it was there because people thought you had to have an antenna for this thing to work. You didn't need an antenna, okay? Yeah, so what's the message? You're on the right track here, but what is the message? I want more input here. Is it a good message? I mean, my same son, who's 12 years old right now, sometimes I got to say, get off the phone! And he's not calling someone, he's playing games. He's catching Pokemon or watching endless YouTube videos, he doesn't always watch the good educational stuff. He watches the dribble as well, The goat that keeps going, for endless hours, okay? I don't know why, but he thinks it's funny. Maybe you do too. All right, so it's good and bad, maybe? Let's watch the next one.
Hi, this is Bridger. Say hi, Bridger.
Hey, Bridger.
He is playing with the iPad, and he just turned 2. So, why don't you show us... First of all, draw us a picture.
Too many heads.
Nope.
Yeah, draw us a picture, Bridger.
Big dinosaur.
No, draw us a picture first.
Okay.
Sweet. I'm excited. Oh.
This?
Yeah.
Want a bright one?
You a new one.
Or a bright one?
Yeah. Why don't you draw a squiggly line? You're so smart, Bridger. Draw us something.
Oh.
Oh, you want to change the background to blue. Why don't you show us the stamp, like the car stamp? Or motorcycle stamp.
Okay. You want a dolphin, okay?
You want to find a dolphin?
Yeah.
Okay, you think there is one in there?
Yeah.
Hopefully. Ooh, there's some other animals. Why don't you pick another animal?
Dinosaur.
Ooh, yeah, do the dinosaur.
Is it Jersey tired?
Whoa, nice. Now draw a picture.
Okay.
Do you like being two? Whoa. That is awesome, Bridger. You know what, Bridger? I think you should show us Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Will you show us that program? Please?
Ooh, that's pretty yellow.
Wow, that looks nice. What do you want to do? Twinkle Twinkle Little Star or Word World?
No, we're wrong.
Okay, show me Word World.
Okay. Where you go?
Oh,
Okay. Right there.
good job.
Yeah, with the guy. With the monster?
Now watch this, is
Sure,
pretty
you can do
incredible.
the
here.
Word World Monster episode.
Okay.
Go to your favorite part. You looking for the monkey part? There it is. There's the monkey part.
The monkey.
Yeah. Yeah. You even learned how to read on this, huh? Okay, show us one more thing, okay?
Later, Doc, and good luck.
Why don't you go to the race car game real quick? And then you can do whatever you want. So go to the race car real quick.
Or Tazzle.
Or Tozzle.
No, get car.
You can do...
What about just me and my daddy?
Oh, yeah.
Car.
Go to Just Me and My Dad. There it is. Go to Just Me and My Dad book.
Okay.
Good job. You really like this one, huh?
Turn up. Turn up.
Oh, okay. I'll turn it up.
Just me and my dad. No, job. Daddy.
Thank you. Well, Bridger, say bye-bye. Say I love my iPad.
Okay, Bridger loves his iPad. So, wow. You know, Bridger's pretty savvy on that, right? Something's still playing. All right.
Shopping.
We're going to make video stop here. Sorry about that. Let's go back. We'll talk about this question in just a second. So what do you think about Bridger? 2 years old, being able to do that. Is it pretty cool or is it scary?
Both.
Both? Why?
Because the fact that he's just grown up on that to know how to do that means that that's all he's doing. Pretty much.
Could be, yeah.
He's gonna go more than us a lot faster.
Yeah.
That could be the other side of the coin too, you know. And I don't know if it's going to hamper his development, or maybe, you know, will something like that keep him from going outside and playing and climbing a tree? Boys have to climb trees and they have to fall out of them. Okay, that's part of our development. We climb trees and we fall out of them. Okay, will he do that? Is he going to be so sad? He's growing up in a world. I mean, this is his world. This is what he knows from the day he was born. This is what he knows. The fact that he can navigate 5 or 6 screens of apps, find the one he wants, open it up, go to the part he wants, knows where the menus are, scroll through and look through something. The whole idea of flicking, to flick, okay, which is a relatively new thing, all right, that this kid is understanding that, and it's got that motor movement, that it's teaching him to read, This amazes. He can open up a video and he can scrub. That's what you call it, moving, you know, back and forward he can scrub to the part he likes. He's thinking in this linear timeline fashion. That's a pretty complex thought. I mean, we take it for granted, but it's a pretty complex thought to have, especially at 2 years old. Okay, so the brain development's happening on this kid. We don't know what the negative result's going to be, if any, but we do see some positive results. Now, it's really going to be up to the parents now to make sure he gets up and plays baseball, climbs trees, and does other things, you know, for his full development. But I can tell you this, I will attest to you that Colony High School in general around here, is 10 times, well, I guarantee at least 4 times more than it was, more difficult, more challenging, more information, better, deeper, whatever you want to call it, than when I was in high school. I am a 1984 graduate of Wasilla High School. In my senior year, I took a special class called Essays and Term Papers. That class, we focused on how to write an essay in a term paper for college-bound students. We typed it on a typewriter with a piece of carbon paper, so I had a copy. I used little film in there to fix mistakes. After we typed it, we edited it by hand with, you know, a pencil, making editing marks. And the second draft, which was also typically the last draft, most of our corrections were a little bit of rearranging, but typographical, spelling errors, grammatical errors, and all that. Most of my corrections are now taken for granted, what I would spend hours on doing. You don't have to worry about that. You can actually work on developing a voice in your organization and developing your ideas to communicate more effectively now with the advent of something as simple as Microsoft Word or even Google Docs now. So that's how far it's come. Now here's the other thing that just being a teacher that I realized and struck me kind of hard. I took that class my last semester of my senior year so I could be ready for college. When I first started teaching here, I taught that exact same thing to incoming freshmen. That's 4 years right there. That's 4 times better the education. When you hear people out there saying education's in trouble and all that, that's hobbledehook, okay? There are problems in education just like there's problems anywhere else, but that's hobbledehook, okay? It's better than ever. And a lot of it is because we understand education better. We understand education better because we are now able to gather data and process that data and look at the data as like, if we do this, this happens over a long period of time and over mass amounts of people. The only way we can do that is how? By hiring a lot of people from a third world country with pencils and paper and writing all these things down in big lists and figuring out the numbers, or by plugging them into a computer and having it spit out that information. Yeah, the computers can be an important tool. So it begs the question right here, consumers versus producers. What is a consumer and what is a producer? And this is what we're getting at today. What is a consumer? What is a producer? Help me out. Start with consumer.
The people that use manufactured goods.
Okay, people that use manufactured goods. Okay, good. Let's talk about the computer world. What is a consumer?
Someone that would use Google Docs or Microsoft Word.
Are they using to consume something or to produce something?
Well, they're using someone else's something someone else has produced to produce
Mm-hmm.
something of their own.
Okay, to produce something. So they're consuming to produce. Okay. Let's keep working on this balance here of consumers and producers. What do you do on? Yes.
Consumer is someone who buys phones and apps.
Okay, you buy things. Yep. So we consume things. So consumes is to use it up. All right. So at the beginning of school year, I get a bunch of consumables. A consumable is this paper. We buy boxes of this paper. I buy staples and things like that. We consume it. We use it up. We eat it up. I buy apples. I eat them. I consume them. All right. I open up Netflix and I watch House of Cards. What am I doing? Am I consuming or producing? I'm a consumer. I'm consuming. I watch my Netflix. I watch my Walking Dead. I watch my, the programs I like. I'm consuming. What is it doing for me? Is it bettering me? A little mindless entertainment, and that's fine for a little bit. Of course, there's got to be a point where it's like too much. And how much do we consume? How much do we produce? So you said like Google Docs, but I'm going to say yes, we do kind of consume it because we buy it and put it in. We don't have to buy it We're producing things. I'm creating something. Right? So give me an example of a producer in the computer world. Microsoft produces something, so people are working at that. Coders and programmers, good. What about people who aren't working for a computer company? You and me. Yeah, Devin. A farmer produces the veg. How does he use a computer to be a producer? We're going to talk about the, but that's true, yes, yes. I mean, that's a good example. A farmer
uses the computer to control the times at which the irrigation system go up.
He does, and he's going to monitor. He's going to use a computer to monitor, the best use of that water and the best time to run the water into his, into his yards. I mean, do you want to do it water your crops at the heat of the day? Do you want to water them at the end of the day or the beginning of the day? So you can water them at the beginning of the day. Take soil samples, every 10 minutes. See what they're like. Water samples. You can do it in the middle of the day, for an hour. Take water samples every 10 minutes. The end of the day, same thing. Do that for a year, and see what the data says. Okay, we're going to produce some information. We are going to run out of time, but I'm going to tell you what our next assignment is. We go to 102. Oh, we got about 10 minutes. We might be able to do this. So how do we become producers of technology and not just consumers? All right? Not just Netflix watchers. Yes, it's fine to watch some Netflix and whatnot. But the little baby's just born. He's learning. He's like, well, how do you cut this umbilical cord thing off? Oh, let's look it up. Boom. Okay? He's consuming the information for a good reason. He's becoming a producer. Okay? My son, yes, he consumed the information to jailbreak the iPad, but he was producing something. He's using it to learn something. So we can be both consumers and producers, perhaps, but how do we become producers of technology and not just consumers? That's the question I want you to think about. And I'm going to bring this back to here, and this is the slideshow we just watched is on the Google Drive. Your assignment now is I want you to get into groups and choose one person to be the leader, who's just going to lead the discussion leader, and one person to be your scribe. And the scribe will need to be on their phone or iPad or go use a computer in here and log in. And you're going to take notes on your discussion. All right? So the question is, how do we become producers of technology and not just consumers? This is a huge question before we get into all this computer stuff. I started off talking about money. I showed you babies and kids who are using consumers, people who grow up with this. There's fears that we get too much, too little, whatnot. Okay? But there's got to be two sides to the coin. I want you to talk about this concept. This is the ethical thing that we need to think about before we go into computer science. Are you there just to make mind-numbing games? Or are you there to do something that's going to better the world? I'm not saying that games don't better the world, but taking anything too far. So form small groups. The above question, be sure to include all group names. So I put 4. If you have 5 people, just add another line. It's a regular bulleted list, so it'll add number 5. And it says the scribe will keep notes for everyone in your group here. You may take your notes in any form. You can just do, you can write out in paragraphs, sentences, or just a bulleted list, however you want. I started the first bulleted list right there. And I want you to talk about this, this idea. You have 12 minutes to do this. When you're done, and only one person needs to turn this in, when you're done, you're just going to, oh, I have the teacher version, but you'll have a button that says turn in. All right? So when you're done, you just click the turn in button, and it'll submit. Just make sure everybody in your group, I have their name. All right? So go ahead and form groups. You're already at tables. Those might work there. And I want you to discuss that. And you have 11 minutes to discuss it. Type up some notes. Turn it in. We'll take a look at them tomorrow before we get going.